You might have heard a staggering statistic that 1 in 5 murders in the United States is committed by a serial killer. While the reality is closer to 1%, that single percent represents thousands of lives and a profound mystery. How can a person commit such acts again and again? Take Ted Bundy. Charismatic, intelligent, by all accounts, normal. Yet he hid a life of unspeakable brutality. It's this chilling duality that keeps investigators awake at night, wrestling with a single haunting question: why? To answer that why, investigators turn to crime profiling. It's the process of building a ghost from the echoes it leaves behind. Experts don't just look at the crime scene, they analyze the behavior at the crime scene. Was it organized or chaotic? What was the motivation? Was it about power or something else? They examine the victimology, the geography of the crimes, the signature. By piecing together these fragments, they construct a behavioral sketch, an outline of the person they're looking for. It might suggest an age range, a type of job, even relationship status. It's not about finding a name, but about dramatically shrinking the pool of suspects from millions down to a manageable few. The greatest challenge, however, is what profilers call the mask of normalcy. Many serial offenders are masters of deception. They're the coworker you share a coffee with, the neighbor who waves hello. This ability to compartmentalize their darkness, to lead a double life, makes them incredibly difficult to identify before they strike. They're a walking paradox, a ticking time bomb with no visible countdown. And often, the roots of this paradox lie in a broken childhood. Research consistently shows a devastating link to early trauma. Nearly half experience psychological abuse, over a third physical abuse. These early wounds fester, twisting into a need for control and dominance that later explodes into violence. But as killers evolve, so do the methods to catch them. The hunt has gone digital. Today, profilers comb through online footprints, social media posts, search histories, location data from a phone. A digital ghost can be just as revealing as a physical one. They also use geo-profiling, mapping the crime locations to find a killer's anchor point, their home or workplace. It turns out most predators don't stray far from their lair. These new tools add layers of data to the psychological sketch, tightening the net in ways that were impossible just a generation ago, turning a killer's own technology against them. So while serial murder is rare, its horror lies in its violation of our trust in the everyday. Crime profiling is our attempt to map that darkness. It's an imperfect science, a constant battle against chaos and the terrifying randomness of human evil. But it reminds us that behind every monstrous act is a human story, however twisted. The real hunt isn't just for a person, but for an answer to the terrifying question of why, for some, the mask of normalcy finally slips. To hunt a shadow, you have to learn how it moves. That's the puzzle at the heart of profiling a serial killer. How do you draw a portrait of a person you've never met, whose only signature is violence? You start where the story ended for someone else, the crime scene. Investigators walk through it, not just looking for clues, but for a language. The location, the state of the room, the type of victim chosen, the specific methods used. These aren't random acts of chaos, they're expressions, chapters in a biography written by an invisible author. By meticulously stitching together these details, profilers begin to form a picture of the killer's personality, their motivations, their daily habits. It's a painstaking process, but it's proven to be one of the most powerful tools we have for stopping those who repeat their crimes. One specific technique investigators use is called the behavioral analysis interview. It's not what you see in the movies, no shouting under a single bare bulb. It's more like psychological surgery. Suspects are asked specific questions, not necessarily to get a confession, but to see how they think. The questions are designed to gauge their behavioral patterns, their core attitudes towards violence. It's a way to get a map of their mind. It's not an exact science, far from it. It's a tool, a way for law enforcement to understand the logic of an illogical mind so they can predict the next move and develop a strategy to finally close in.
But as I studied this world, as I looked into the minds of these individuals, one single finding stood out, and it changes the entire story. Despite their monstrous actions, a shocking number of serial killers share a common thread running through their past. And it's not a genetic marker or some innate evil. It's trauma. A significant number have histories of profound childhood abuse or neglect. This discovery directly challenges the old, comfortable idea that serial killers are simply born, not made, that they are alien creatures, a glitch in the human code. It suggests something far more unsettling, and in a way far more tragic. It suggests that many of them were created, forged in the fires of a broken childhood. And this single insight has profound implications, because if a monster is made, then maybe it can be unmade, or even better, never be made in the first place. This shifts the entire conversation from one of pure reaction, of hunting and capturing, to one of prevention. If we can learn to identify the children who are at the highest risk, those experiencing the kind of trauma that can twist a life into something violent, then we might be able to intervene. We could provide them with the support, the therapy, the resources they need to heal, to steer them away from that dark path. It's an incredibly complex issue, of course, with no easy answers, but it offers a flicker of genuine hope. A hope that the ultimate solution to reducing these crimes isn't found in a detective's notebook, but in our ability to build a world with fewer broken children.
In 70% of cases, a serial killer performs a unique act with one victim that they never replicate with any other. It's a signature deviation, a single detail that can mislead investigators into believing there are multiple offenders. This is the kind of puzzle that defines the field. To catch them, you have to understand them, and understanding is a journey into some of the darkest parts of human psychology. What drives them? The FBI points to a cocktail of motives: anger, financial gain, attention, but most commonly, it's about lust, thrill, and power. But this behavior doesn't just appear out of thin air. The roots often run deep into childhood. Consider this. Studies show 68% of serial offenders experienced some form of severe maltreatment as kids. 74% suffered psychological abuse. They are often the product of profound trauma and neglect, their deviant fantasies blooming in the shadows of a broken past. This isn't an excuse, it's a diagnostic tool. Law enforcement agencies, like the FBI's Behavioral Analysis Unit, use these psychological blueprints to build profiles. They study the behaviors, the motivations, the backgrounds, reverse engineering a life of violence to predict the killer's next move. Ultimately, understanding this psychology becomes our most crucial tool. It's not just about developing effective strategies for catching them once the killing has started. More importantly, it's about prevention. It's about recognizing the warning signs and intervening before someone ever commits that first crime. This is a fascinating, terrifyingly complex field, one that continues to evolve as we learn more about the minds of these offenders. The work continues because the mind of a serial offender is a dark map. And by learning to read it, we might just learn how to prevent anyone from having to draw one again.
Ever wondered how investigators get inside a criminal's head? That's crime profiling. Drop your own theories below. Then see our video on the psychology of psychopaths and how to spot one.